The chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. This is your homegirl, uh, Barbosa, 914, Westchester County, New York. Coming to you with another live video real quick. I'm not going to be that long. Good morning, everyone. It is Friday morning. Good morning, everyone. It is Friday morning. A shout out to the chat. A shout out to the YouTube streets. So shout out to everyone that went live last night and this morning. Shout out to King Mafia Anthony. Shout out to Empress Lonnie One Love. She went live this morning, so shout out to them. I was trolling. Well, not trolling, but strolling on the social media, and I see there's a report about a 30-year-old case. It was a cold case for a little while, but I believe it's a 30-year-old case. It's concerning a woman, a mother and a child, a black woman and her child, her 2-year-old child. And as I was reading the report, ladies and gentlemen, as I was reading the report, both of these people went missing 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And they discovered their bodies not too long ago. The woman was dismembered and the child was dismembered. They found them dismembered. Shout out to the chat. It's a sad situation. Both mother and child went missing 30 years ago. 30 years ago, they could have been found. 30 years ago, a mother and a child. How hard would it have been if law enforcement was doing their fucking job, which they hardly ever do. Law enforcement hardly ever does anything correctly. They hardly ever do anything right. And you know, they need to be called out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it. Law enforcement does not be doing their job. They don't care to do their job. And I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people don't talk about it on the YouTubes. A lot of people don't talk about it on the YouTubes. But there is a big difference on how black women are treated and how their white counterparts are treated when they are reported missing. When a black woman or a black child is reported missing, nobody seems to give a fuck. Only those that reported them as being missing, only those that went to law enforcement and said, look, my loved one hasn't been seen for a while, my loved one is missing. But let it be their white counterpart. The whole world go looking for them before the 24 hours is up and done with. Shout out to the chat. And everyone knows it's true. Everyone knows it's true. It's a big difference how missing reports are handled. We got a lot of things going on in society that a lot of people in the sector are not talking about. Not because they don't want to talk about it, it's because it's a difficult subject to even wrap your head around, to even muster the energy to talk about certain issues and certain things. But I find it very strange that they couldn't find this black woman and her child, a 2-year-old child that was missing for 30 years. And by the time they found them, they were already passed away and their remains were dismembered. Shout out to the chat. So they met a horrible end. They met a horrible end. and law enforcement back, especially 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I was in my early 20s. 30 years ago, I was 22 years old. So when they went missing 30 years ago, I was a much younger person. You know what I mean? And I'm going to tell you something. If you're a family member of mine, let's say that you're living with me, right? You're residing with me. And all of a sudden, you don't come back to this house, for at least a whole day, I'm reporting you. I'm sorry. I'm going straight to the police. I am reporting you. You're a missing person. I'm not taking no chances, and I'm going to keep going down there until you're found or until you return to the house. And I have done it. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. And I have gone up against the wall where the police would tell you, oh, you got to wait 24 hours. I would already lie and say it's already 24 hours. They've been gone for good 24 hours. I have not heard from them. I have not seen them. X, Y, and Z. Could you put the APB out? You know what I mean? Word. People need to be interested in who's in their life, who's involved with their life. Shout out to the chat, and that's real. Good morning to the one person that's in the building. Good morning to the one person, one like. Shout out to you. Good morning to you. Happy Friday. I hope everything works out well for you. You know what I mean? Word. I just want to know other people's thoughts and feelings on this subject. Our Black people, and it's a reality, we have to be honest with ourselves. Yes, we're being treated differently from our white counterparts. We are. If something was to happen to any of us, nobody would give a damn. During slavery, during Jim Crow, they did medical experiments on us, on our ancestors. During the civil rights movement, during that time period when people were marching up and down the streets, protesting, fighting for their civil rights, fighting to be treated as human beings, the dogs were sent to attack them. Water hoses were sprayed on them. People got killed. People became incarcerated for over a month. We even had the Children's March done. That was in 1963, where the children were arrested by the authorities and put in jail. Some of the children were held for over a month in police custody. Shout out to the chat. And we got some young people on this app, and it's such a shame. They don't even know that Martin Luther King's birthday was January the 15th. Now tell me that something ain't right, that something is seriously wrong with our young people. We got young people on this app. Good morning, Purple Heart Podcast. We got young people on this app that didn't know that Martin Luther King's birthday was yesterday. Shout out to you, Purple Heart Podcast, aka Just Jay. Thank you for coming in this morning. It's good to see you. Shout out to you. Yeah, Just Jay. I went live last night And the young man that was in the chat the other day that was trying to hit the link, he was able to come up last night and me and him had a discussion. So we had a wonderful conversation. Shout out to him. Yeah. Yeah, I find that very disheartening when we got young people, we got YouTube creators on this platform that didn't know or were unaware of when Martin Luther King's birthday was. They didn't know that January the 15th is actually his birthday, because his birthday is not acknowledged on the 15th. His birthday is always acknowledged on a Monday. So some people are going to have a long weekend this weekend because there's a lot of people that celebrate the birthday of Martin Luther King. That's why I did the short videos I did yesterday concerning certain things that happened in history. And then there was someone that wrote in the comment section, they had the nerve to say that it was propaganda what I was pushing. It is not propaganda, it is history. It seems like when we talk about what happened in the past of the history of this country, it is called propaganda. But when they do it, it's called history. Shout out to the chat. People actually write in my comment section that I'm not American. Why? Because my first name is Arabia? I wouldn't be a bit surprised if people ain't trying to call ICE on me. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if ICE don't show up here at this house. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. We got ignorant motherfuckers because my first name is Arabia. They automatically assume that I'm not from this country. No, my mother chose not to give me a slave first name. That's what my mother chose to do. When I was born, my mother and father had already picked my name, and my name was not going to be Elizabeth. My name was not going to be Susie. My name was not going to be Mary. My name was not going to be Linda. My name was not going to be Bertha. My name was not going to be Ernestine. My name was not going to be Ethel. My name was not going to be Kathy. My name was not going to be Terry. My name wasn't going to be a white woman's name. Shout out to the chat. It's bad enough black people in America is carrying around the last names or the surnames of the people that colonized us. It's bad enough. Shout out to the chat. But for everyone that needs to know, yes, my first name is Arabia. That is my government name. It's on my birth certificate. It's on my state ID. It's on all my paperwork. It's on my bills. It's on my taxes. It's on my lease. My name is Arabia. Shout out to the chat. So we got a lot of haters of people that have certain names. You know what I mean? I remember one time someone had the nerve, and it was a white person, had the nerve to ask me, why did my mother give me the name Arabia? Why didn't she pick a white sounding name? Had the nerve to ask me that. And I said, why don't you ask her? Because my mother was a member of the Nation of Islam from 1968 until 1974. She left the Nation of Islam in 1974, but she was an active member. She was attending all the mosque meetings that she was supposed to attend. She was a registered Muslim. And I don't mean no harm, but I do mean some harm. The woman should have never left the Nation of Islam. She should have stayed on with the Nation of Islam. She should have been more faithful to the movement. That's what she should have did. Maybe the enemy would not have had the power they had to come in and destroy her whole family and separate all of us kids and have us raised in a fucking foster care system. Black women, you need to be more careful on how you deal with your own bodies and your own sexuality, especially for a lot of you that call yourself heterosexual. If you're heterosexual, marry the man that you're fucking. Marry the man that you're dating. Marry the man that you got pregnant by and stop being a whore. Let's call an ace and a spade a spade. Yo, shout out to Tommy Sotomayor for putting that on Front Street a couple of years ago. Shout out to him. So I already said this video is not going to be very long. I said the video was not going to be very long. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to my moderators. Shout out to my support team. Shout out to my subscribers. Shout out to my YouTube creators. I might go live later on this evening because today is going to be a busy day. Today is Friday. Today is the beginning of the weekend, and for a lot of you, this is your time to acknowledge the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's your time to acknowledge what happened to him in history. It is recorded. It is your time to read up on him. It is your time to research him. It is your time to find out who else was a part of the civil rights movement around that time, because it wasn't just Martin Luther King. You had people like Elijah Muhammad. You had people like Malcolm X. You had people like Fannie Lou Hamer. I don't really hear a lot of people celebrating Fannie Lou Hamer like the way they're celebrating Martin Luther King. Just like a lot of people acknowledge Frederick Douglass way before they acknowledge Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a slave that broke her own self out of slavery by escaping to the North. And not only did she free her own self, she went back for many others, countless others, so other people could taste the richness and the sweetness of freedom. She carried around a pistol. Harriet Tubman took part in a lot of things that helped establish the freedom of Black America. She fought during the Civil War. This woman was a part of that movement. Fannie Lou Hamer was a part of the civil rights movement. She was attacked by the police, put in jail. She was assaulted physically by the police. Only because what? She went and registered to vote. She tried to become a member. She tried to be a part of the Democratic Party. Back then, the Democratic Party was very racist towards Black Americans. That's what history don't tell you. She knew that. That's why she started her own Democratic Party. Black people in this country are ignorant to the fact how the Democrat Party started the Ku Klux Klan. You're ignorant to the fact, but I'm glad that we're waking up now, that we can see the Democrat Party as well as the Republican Party is against Black America. I'm glad that we're waking up, but we're waking up a little too late, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party was not meant for us. We were meant to be a part of our own political movement, our own political party. Shout out to the chat. Not only were we destined to have our own political party, we were destined to have our own military. We were destined to have our own country. We were destined to have our own land. We were destined. But the United States got to pay us. If we ever decide to build our own country within America, America has to take care of us like the way they are taking care of the state of Israel. Shout out to the chat. And that's reality, and they don't want to do it. We got a brother here on the YouTube streets who is telling how at one time there was a lot of worship done to the sun god Ra. To the sun god Ra. On the YouTube streets, there is a Native American song. It's called The Chant to the Sun. We are the sun people. The opposition, the enemy, are the ice people. Shout out to the chat. And that's reality. So I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. I'm out of here. I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. I told you I wasn't going to be up here very long. So shout out to the chat. Shout out to the people that did come into the comment section. Shout out to Purple Heart Podcast. She didn't stay long, but she did come. Shout out to you. Thank you for coming over to moderate. It's been a pleasure this morning. It's been wonderful this morning. Yesterday was good, and last night was even better. So shout out to everyone that supports this channel. Shout out to you. Hit the like button and hit the Cash App. $ Arabia 914. Hit the Cash App. Peace out, y'all. I'm out. One.